Hi guys, Hari here, doing another first-person VOD of another Captain's Mode that I played with 5-stack, although one of us is at least a little fresh back to Dota, so, I mean, not a solid 5-stack, but, I mean, still with 4 other people that I know. I am drafting here, and I did ban TA and Darkseer. TA I think is still quite strong, and just can snowball so easily, and that's kind of the metagame right now. It's like ganking snowballing heroes, so I mean, TA fits pretty perfectly into that, and Darkseer I just don't like to deal with. They banned Jakiro and Undying, which are reasonable bans, and that left me with the choice between first picking Batrider and Rubik. This was back a little while ago, I mean, like a week ago, and I still undervalued Batrider just a little bit, to the point where I wouldn't first pick him over Rubik, although I think it is a contentious decision, although I would say in general Batrider would be favored. But the reason why I like the Rubik first pick so much is because it shuts off, or at least it really discourages teams from picking AoE heroes. You know, big teamfight presence heroes like Tide or Enigma. Although then you can see actually that they took Fury and Tide. Fury I don't always ban anymore. I still like to, though, just because that hero annoys me so much, just having to deal with it. And here they certainly were happy to pick it very quickly, as well as the Tide, which Rubik in theory should counter, but well, to marginal success. So then I took Batrider and Bounty Hunter. Basically, this game I kind of wanted to go with some IG picks. In case any of you guys don't know, I'm a really big IG fanboy, and yeah, I really like their picks a lot, and I wanted to try it out. Kind of more all-in IG strategy. I mean, not all-in in the sense that that's them going all-in and that's the strategy, but rather going all-in on their sorts of picks. And, I mean, the core of basically an IG picks lineup, or what I'm referring to as an IG picks lineup, is like Bounty Hunter, Night Stalker. And Bounty Hunter, Night Stalker, Batrider is just upping the ante even a little bit further. And basically just an extremely gank-heavy lineup, which takes advantage of track gold and turns that into basically an insurmountable advantage. And so, essentially with my last 2 picks, I'm looking to grab Night Stalker, and then probably one more range support. Actually no, not one more range support, because I'm going to actually want to dual lane Night Stalker mid, I think. I'm not really sure. I think probably Queen of Pain and Night Stalker is what I'm looking to pick up at this point. Anyway, I do ban out the CK, just that long duration stun, really annoying against basically everything that we have, and I don't know, I mean, long duration stuns are just annoying. I mean, casual Beastmaster Roars isn't really something anyone wants to face. I've been Invoker, even though I don't think Invoker is so great anymore, just because I didn't want that global, you know, Sunstrike plus Fury and TP would be really annoying to deal with. And Invoker has pretty nice range, and I would say the capacity to survive potentially against a dual lane mid, which is, like I said, what I'm thinking of running, because I do want to most likely put Batrider in the jungle here, just to kind of really gain, or try to, not gain an advantage actually, but to keep up with the opposing team, because I certainly expect Furion to be in the jungle. Most teams run Furion in the jungle, especially at this level. It's unlikely that, it's less likely, certainly, that a team will be running a Furion long lane or Furion mid. I mean, Furion mid would only really be if you had like an aggressive tri-lane or something and you're trying to beat the other teams. But after a Rubik pick, that might be less likely. Batrider certainly is better in lane. I mean, Batrider can beat almost anyone in 1 versus 1 lane, especially if you can go, like, put your Batrider top against a long lane solo. Oh, my god, it's just crushing. But Batrider is actually a very effective jungle as well. He can farm up pretty quickly, and it kind of lets you play a slightly different Batrider game, where basically you're just focused on farming and getting a blink as fast as possible, rather than shutting someone down and getting a blink as fast as possible. And it lets you skip the Tranquil Boots. Which is kind of 500 gold that hopefully will be slightly sooner or blink. Although in the lane you don't necessarily always need to get a bottle, whereas in the jungle I think you should. Last ban is Lone Druid, just because again it's another hero I really don't like to have to deal with, and I think they're still looking for some sort of a carry at this point. And like I said, Chaos Knight is annoying because of his early game presence. Lone Druid is annoying because he's very hard to deal with, and if he farms effectively in the bottom lane, could mean a really fast Radiance, which is not something I want to deal with, especially as a Blink hero. I mean, the bear can really just frustrate you if he randomly clips you with the edge of Radiance. So yeah, just banning that out, and yeah, hoping to get him the pick. They banned Panda, which I guess makes sense because they have Tide. Panda, I mean, Panda ult's pretty effective against Tide, and they banned the Veno. The Veno, I don't really know. I mean, I guess they figure we want another support, and Veno's just a solid support. And the Juggernaut one, Juggernaut is also pretty effective against Tide. I mean, you can pick Juggernaut when the opposing team goes Tide, because basically you just put the Juggernaut on the Tide, have him start spinning, and threaten to ult the Tide, which forces the Tide to either risk dying before he can get the ult off, or die and not get the ult off. Or, no, that's not what I meant to say. Risk dying. Sorry, it's a little for me. He risks dying. Frames per second dropped to 18. Ah, freaking quick time update. Sorry about that. Alright, back on track. Tide would risk dying without getting his ult off if he tries to hold on to it, or if he ravages, maybe he gets no one or just one person because the bounty hunter is magic immune. So that's why bounty hunter is a relatively common pick against Tide. So anyway, here I think I'm just debating the Night Stalker, whether I want to go all in on this or not, because I'm not really sure what my last pick would be. I mean, I guess it would be Queen of Pain, so maybe I'm just wondering whether I want the Queen of Pain or the Night Stalker first, which I wonder is more likely for them to pick. I think it would be more likely that they would pick Queen of Pain, though, since they don't necessarily have a long lane yet. Unless they do send Furion up there. Although Tide can certainly go up there too. It's not beyond the realm of possibility. I mean, I've got to assume that's basically all I'm debating with myself at this point. Queen of Pain also, I mean, doesn't really benefit as much as other heroes like Night Stalker from the track, or heroes like Sven, etc. But it's still pretty effective because she's a very good ganking hero. And, I mean, if she gets some right-click damage items, maybe after a Hex, then she can really take advantage of the negative armor. So, it's not optimal, but, I mean, just having Queen of Pain is very nice. And we need, since I want to put a dual lane mid, 2 solo lanes. The reason why I want to put a dual lane mid is just because I really want to guarantee that Night Stalker has a really good first day, transition to a nice first night. Plus, I mean, the thing is with the Night Stalker, once the first night hits, you always want to rotate someone mid anyway, because, I mean, you don't want them to leave the Night Stalker mid, but at the same time, you can't just abandon mid lane. You're going to lose your tower, give a bunch of free experience and gold, etc. And so, having a Rubik Night Stalker dual lane mid means the Rubik can just stay mid while the Night Stalker roams around in the first night, which is really good for the Rubik, because Rubik does require some levels. I mean, he's not absurdly level intensive. I mean, past the point in his ultimate, it's not super important. I mean, it's nice, but it's more of a convenience. And, I mean, after level 7 or 9, I mean, he has most effective of his abilities. Although his aura is certainly nice as well. So, I mean, it's just good for him to get those levels up, and it's a good example of a dual lane mid that you can set up with him, rather than having to rotate someone else to mid from somewhere else. Which we don't really have any good candidates for that, because, I mean, you don't really want just Batrider sitting mid. He should be, well, ganking. I mean, if he gets his blink up. So anyway, here's the Queen of Pain and the Night Stalker. They actually picked Bane. Bane, pretty effective against Queen of Pain, actually, and kind of against Night Stalker. I think I still debated the Night Stalker pick a little bit, because it's really annoying to get slept if you're Night Stalker, if your team's not really paying attention. We don't have any summons to actually take it off. And also getting ulted as Night Stalker, someone who relies on his movement speed for survivability in team fights, being forced to stand still and getting beat on, can be a little bit detrimental. But at the same time, Night Stalker is pretty effective against Bane, because having a long duration silence really shuts down a hero who is 100% reliant on her spells, his spells. I don't really know what we would call Bane. I mean, it's purple, so it's kind of effeminate in that regard, but it's got the evil face, which means more masculine in my eyes. Anyway, they picked Sniper, which I didn't actually realize at the time, but is, well, I mean, Sniper's not super effective against anything, but, yeah, it's not like a water Pokemon against a fire Pokemon, but, I don't know why I thought to say that. Anyway, it's reasonable against a Batrider, because the thing is, Batrider, I mean, generally speaking, how Batrider's so effective is you have two teams facing each other and can sort of stand off, and then Batrider's just like, okay, well, why don't we just go? And he just jumps in, grabs someone, pulls him out with Force Staff or something like that, or pulls him out while BK beat up, and then you just kill that person. And the most effective target, obviously, is to catch the opposing team's carry, something like that. And, well, Sniper, as the carry, can stand really absurdly far back. So in that regard, it's pretty effective against Batrider. What it means, and what we didn't do a very good job of, although I think we were maybe a little bit discouraged by the point it's going to get to that, is you should try to engage their team. Like, if you see that their team's pushing bottom or something, like in this area here, I guess I can draw the map for you guys. Like, they're pushing like this. What you should do is come over here with the smoke and try engaging them like this, rather than waiting here and fighting them head on, because then you're not going to catch the sniper. From here, you could pull the sniper out to the side and kill him over here. But yeah. Anyway, I'm going to go to player perspective now, so that this actually becomes a first-person VOD. Go to myself, and yeah, we're gonna see my starting items here. These are pretty standard items, I think, for jungling. Just 3 branches, just for a little bit of stats. It's gonna give me a little more health, a little bit less hitting, a little bit more mana regeneration, etc. I mean, stats. Come on, you don't really need to explain stats anymore at this point. And just 3 tangos, just to help me regen up from this easy camp. And so basically the strategy that I'm going to show for Batrider jungling, I think it's pretty standardized too, but it's it works on both the Dire or the Radiant side. The difference is on the Radiant side, you can't really pull. Well, assuming, I mean, because your lane is the one who, well, in this case we have a solo lane, so I guess I could pull the normal pull spot. I mean, I guess I'll just show you on the map. This, I don't know, I can't show you in first person. Well, you see my mouse, right? This or this. But if it's warded, then you wouldn't be able to pull that. But as the Dire, you can actually pull the easy camp, which is a little bit different. On the Radiant, you can pull the easy camp too, because you could actually use Firefly to burn down those trees and pull into the mid lane. But in order for that to be effective, you really need to chain pull that into the hard camp, and that hard camp there, the one you would chain pull it into, is actually the one you should be stacking. So in that regard, pulling isn't really as effective on the Radiant as it is on the Dire. So on the Radiant, you're basically just going to want to kill the easy camp twice. And on the Dire, you have the option to like kill the easy camp the first time and then pull it the second time and chain pull it into the camp on the left. I don't actually remember which of the two I'm going to do this time, whether I'm going to kill it twice or whether I will chain pull it the second time. But we will see, certainly. So we do have a Bounty Hunter in the long lane. He opted, I was kind of saying, well, you don't really need to block the pulls because you're Bounty Hunter. I mean, what you can kind of do is just, you kind of want the vision, so I was saying to put one basically where he is now, just off on the side so he doesn't get ganked, and then put the other just on the cliff there to get rune vision from mid. Because if he realizes they're pulling, he can actually go contest the pull pretty well and try to get to even pick off a couple creeps or so. I mean, it can be a little bit risky because if they have sentries, but at the same time they have a sniper, Shadow Shaman, and Furion. So as long as he has any amount of tangos, he'll be able to eat right through the Furion sprout, and, well, Shadow Shaman alone isn't going to be enough to hold him in time, or hold him long enough for the sniper to kill him, especially because I assume he probably does have a Quelling Blade, or I mean not a Quelling Blade, Stout Shield. So, yeah, not really necessary, but I think he may get away with it. The risk of putting the wards like he did is that the other team would counter-ward them. So anyway, I'm just going to come here and kill this easy camp first. I'm just going to use Firefly on him. I don't use Firefly until I get right next to him. Just waiting that extra second can be the difference between it running out and killing all of them or not, so pay attention to that. And then I just kind of pull them over to the side a little bit. You notice I really focus down that the Frost one first just because I don't want it slowing me. The reason why I pull it over to the side like this is just so that they're not constantly attacking me, so they actually spend some amount of time running back. And then I have to go pull this. Now it's really super important that you pull this. Even if you don't kill the easy camp in time, you absolutely have to pull this to stack it. It does work out well for me that I actually do manage to pull the easy camp in time and then stack that. But if you don't pull the easy camp, or if you don't kill the easy camp in time, which the only way I think that really is going to happen is if you get the troll with the healing, you should still go stack the other camp and just kind of suck it up and then just get one extra stack and you'll make up for it later. But here anyway, I do manage to kill the easy camp, go pull or stack the hard camp, and now I'm going to pull the easy camp into the lane as per being Dire, and then chain pull this camp down here. Now, a very important thing for chain pulling is just to learn not to be greedy. Like here, I think I was trying to maybe last it up the hill, but I realized now it's just not going to happen, and so I'm just going to maybe try to get as much experience as I can. I think I missed the experience for just one of them, but I'm going to get for two. And the experience at this point is more important than the gold, although getting to 600 gold for my bottle is real important, but experience is more important, and the most important thing is that I do not screw up the chain pull and screw the top lane by pushing it out because I did not chain pull the camp and they get a double creep wave. So the key is just really being not greedy, which is something new for me, and going and getting yourself in position to make the chain pull as early as possible. So here I make sure that I get the timing right, which actually does involve me missing another creep the last hit, unfortunately, which would have given me my bottle, but I'll have my bottle on time anyway. So I've actually got 3 stacks on the hard camp now, so I'm just going to sit over here and finish this guy off with my range creep, and I'm going to buy my bottle as soon as I have enough money and send it to myself. I'm just auto-attacking here because I mean all I have left is a range creep and it's quite weak, and I can just deny it if I manage to actually click on it by attacking it twice as it runs off. And yeah, now I'm just going to go over and kill this easy camp again. I do have napalm now, so I can actually use a couple stacks of napalm to help kill them, and then I'm just going to use Firefly. This is the troll camp, which takes a little bit longer because I have napalm now and because I have more than 30 seconds since the camp spawned at a minute, not at the 30-second mark. It's easy to kill this in time. So I have my bottle. I'm just going to start bottling up a little bit now, and I should probably eat a tree as well just to get that out of my inventory, and I'm going to stack this one more time and then start killing it. I'll explain killing this in 1 second. As of right now, basically the only thing to look for while you're killing the hard camp is whether it has trolls or not. Because if it has any trolls, you have to behave slightly differently than you do if it doesn't have any trolls. The reason is because trolls attack ranged, and the only ranged thing here are those little tiny white guys which don't do anything. So we're actually not going to get any trolls here, so basically all I'm going to do is I'm just going to come over here and start stacking up napalm in here. And we can see actually Benny did manage to get first blood top. He is Queen of Pain solo against the Tidehunter, which should be a really easy lane for him. I'm really conservative with this because occasionally I might accidentally miss hitting a couple creeps with sticky napalm once I start flyer flying, so I really want to get this to a high number. But if you're good enough at it with enough practice, you can probably start at about 5. I'm going to start at 6. So basically all I'm doing is I'm going to firefly around to the side there first before going up onto the cliff. The reason for this is just to make sure that the area that they run around when trying to get to me, they basically stay in the fire constantly. And then the other important thing is just to make sure that you keep hitting them with sticky napalm once you firefly. It's very easy to start fireflying and forget that you need to continue applying the sticky napalm. But if you do that, then the sticky napalm will run off, and instead of doing 150 damage per second or something like that, instead you're just going to do 40 damage or 20 damage per second or something like that. So anyway, I do actually, the timing works out well enough that I am able to stack the easy camp as well. And there's a haste rune here, which might be better for Night Stalker, but it's still 2 minutes until night anyway, so he's not really going to be looking to go around ganking. So I'm just going to grab this bottle, even though it's not really going to do anything for me. I mean, I could kill Tide with it, but unfortunately the lane is all the way pushed up, so I mean, haste isn't going to do me anything there. But I did stack this in time, like I said, so I'm just going to clear the stacked camp real quick, and ideally clear the hard camp again. I do send myself boots and TP. Always should have TP. This goes without saying. And boots. Boots will make it easier for me to actually firefly away from these guys, and obviously I need boots at some point. I'm not going to go all the way to my tranquil boots since I'm in the jungle. I mean, if you were in the lane, I would certainly suggest getting tranquil boots. They're pretty solid on him. But since I'm in the jungle, I don't really need them that much. I don't need the regen, and the extra movement speed would be a convenience, but not a necessity. Whereas, yeah, just getting my blink as fast as possible is kind of going to be more important. So I see that this camp actually isn't warded, so I could have actually just done a little bit easier pulling earlier on, but I generally just assume that that's warded. And now, I mean, I could have started with sentries, but that's a lot of work, and I don't really want to have to spend the money. If someone else had bought me sentries, maybe I would have considered it. But yeah, so I am just going to stack this and pull this because the lane is all the way pushed up, and it'll be really nice for Queen of Pain to have the lane back against a melee, make it that much easier for her to control Tide, using Shadow Strike, etc. So just going to pull this out, obviously. I think everyone knows that, I mean, pull timings for stacking, it's like 51, 52, 53, and the earlier, the more creeps in the camp, like once you're stacking a camp up, like I was showing there, the earlier you need to pull it by a slight amount. But yeah, here, so I'm actually stacking up napalm on these just to make it easier for me to guarantee the last hit him. I mean, it's a double stack, but I can actually kill this double stack just by right-clicking, basically, while it's pulled, just using my lane creeps to tank. Unfortunately, I do something which is kind of bad here, which is I have it pulled out still while the next wave of creeps is coming, which can have slightly negative effects, but actually 2 creeps go by, so it should be okay. And the creep wave was far enough down that I think it probably would have been alright anyway. I don't do an amazing job actually last hitting these, which is kind of a mistake, but I think I was more focused on communicating with the Queen of Pain because I actually wanted to gank this Tide using this haste rune. With the haste rune, I might not even have to use my ult, which would be really nice because I can just keep stacking napalm and go on top of him. Unfortunately, it looks like he's not coming to investigate the pull, and the reason for that is we see that he's going to ward here. So instead, I'm actually just going to firefly down this hill and start stacking up napalm. I'm actually telling Queen of Pain to come to me now, but I realize once he starts going this way that I still have the haste for long enough that it's not going to be necessary, so I'm just going to stack napalm and keep flying over him with Firefly. And Night Stalker does run over just in time to get experience and gold for an assist, which is nice. I actually meant to mention to my team that there is a ward on that hill that he warded, but I assumed they saw it, so I would assume that the support would come counter-ward that, but it's possible that he did not. I don't know what I was looking at in the shop there. But yeah, just, I mean, I make it back into the jungle now, so I am going to come stack this again. I could go ganking, and maybe I actually should go gank mid, but I think the bounty hunters actually roamed there, so it's not really necessary. I'm pretty sure the 3 of them should be able to get the kill, no problem, and surely enough they do. I can't really gank into bottom because we have no vision down there. I mean, we actually have no vision anywhere on the map right now, but that's understandable. It's kind of that time where wards go down before you get them back up. So I'm just going to continue focusing on farming. Like I said, the top lane is too pushed for me to really do anything too effective against Tide. Tide is not an amazing candidate for me to gank either, just because Kraken Shell will break Flaming Lasso, and if he has any TPs, we could actually be in a lot of trouble with Ravage. Yeah, actually, if the Rubik had just attacked one more time there before walking back, and then attacked again, the Shadow Shaman would have died. I realize I haven't talked about my skill build yet. So for jungling, obviously I got level 1 Firefly just because it makes it easier to kill that camp, and then we're just basically getting level 1 Napalm and Firefly before we clear the stack camp. That's really all that's necessary. In this case, I did get 2 points in Napalm. The reason why I go second point in Napalm over second point in Firefly is because I'm going to stack, yeah, here I'm covering the top rune. It's because I'm going to stack the stack so high on the camp that I'm going to clear that I will actually, it'll deal more damage. So like in this case I started with 6 stacks on him, and let's see, I think it's 6, it's 15 per stack. Yeah, 15 per stack. So that would be 90 damage per second, and an additional level in, well, so actually the additional level in Napalm gave me an additional 30 damage per second, whereas an additional point in Firefly would have only given me an additional 20 damage per second. So when you're in the jungle, it's just a little bit faster with leveling Sticky Napalm when you're going to do stacks like this. But I basically ended up leveling them evenly. The reason why I went for 3-3 rather than 4-2 is just because at this point I want to kind of go lasso people and pull them in, and I don't necessarily always have time to stack up a bunch of Sticky Napalm when I'm going to do that to people. Maxing Sticky Napalm is kind of more of a laning thing for the advantage it gives you if you're going to spend more time in lane. But given that I'm just in the jungle, Firefly is going to do basically as much damage as Napalm, if not more, for when I'm quickly clearing down camps. And like I said, for ganking people, I'm just going to want to maybe get 1 stack of Napalm on them while I'm Fireflying, lasso, pull them out, maybe get 1 more stack of Napalm, but still the extra point in Firefly is just going to be doing more damage. And before I start ganking, I actually want to have a point in Volatile Cocktail or whatever, Flame Break. Yeah. I don't know why I thought it was Volatile Cocktail. Yeah, because I'm looking at a Molotov Cocktail and whatnot. I'm heading towards bottom now, I guess, because it actually has been, I mean, we haven't really ganked down there yet, and their carry has been farming, so it kind of makes sense to head down there. Plus, there's a Fury in their woods, which maybe I'll run into, and it should be a pretty easy kill. Although, actually, I don't have Flame Break, so it would actually maybe be a little bit difficult for me to kill him, but I see the sniper and the Rasta here, so I'm going to just make sure that I get this Rasta while the two of them are able to take care of getting that sniper. So I'm going to, yeah, lasso him. Basically, I did exactly what I talked about there, which is I stacked 1 napalm, started pulling him in, stacked another napalm once I pulled him a little ways back. Now, it certainly depends. If you're just trying to get someone to your team, then you really only need to stack napalm maybe initially while you're running in on them, and then pull them out, and the additional stack of napalm isn't as important as pulling them further back. But here I was kind of just trying to kill him by myself. I actually told him just to take 2 drinks of the bottle, but he decided to drink all of it. Friendly bounty hunter. But yeah, we've gotten off to a pretty good start here. I mean, we're ganking pretty effectively, and if we take a look, thanks to the lanes and everything, we're actually up by a very significant amount of gold and experience. And I see a little bit of action going on mid here. Unfortunately, they kind of overlapped their abilities a bit, using the silence and telekinesis at the same time. And the silence, I think, went first, so yeah, maybe a little bit poorly coordinated with telekinesis, but oh well. Not really for me to worry about, and I'm just going to go back to the jungle, because again, I'm still just trying to get that Blink Dagger, which will make it that much easier for me to start ganking. So again, just if my timing allows, I'm always going to stack. I think I'm going to go check the rune while I'm here. They have that ward. So yeah, I'm actually going to just fly over to get a quick look at the rune, but it's actually bottom. So I'm just going to use this opportunity to kill this camp here of dogs. And, well, dogs, what am I talking? Of wolves. I'm actually a little bit indecisive. I thought I maybe had enough time left on Flame Break. Because I investigated the rune, I actually didn't still have enough time left on Flame Break. Why am I saying Flame Break? Because I was about to cast it. Enough time left on Firefly to actually kill the hard camp. Sorry, my throat is a little bit sore. It's that season, you know. So, Night Stalker doing what he's supposed to be doing, which is roaming around at night. We have got another gank on the sniper, which is pretty important, because we really don't want to let him farm. And speaking of Flame Break, like I said, I do have 1 point in Flame Break now. This is important for when you go ganking, just because, I mean, even with just 1 point, you still get the maximum stun and the knockback and everything. It's just the damage that increases. And maybe cooldown or something, but I don't think so. No, just damage and mana cost. That's it. So the 1 point is kind of slightly 1 point wonder-ish, especially against stuff like Bane, who has a channeling spell, Rasta, who has a channeling spell, and Furion, who can TP out if I'm Fireflying on top of him. But again, I'm just going to go back to the jungle. I just kind of went back to base to refill my bottle. I could have considered just bottle crowing it, which maybe I should have done, but Firefly was on cooldown, etc., so it seemed reasonable. Yeah, the Night Stalker was running in there to go interrupt, but unfortunately a nice hex from the Rasta made that not really a reality. And I come in here actually to try to turn stuff around, but we actually see 4 of them, including Tide, who presumably has Ravage. I mean, obviously we can see that he has Ravage, but in the game I was presuming that he has Ravage. So, back to the jungle, clear more stacks, excuse me, get more gold, get closer to my Blink Dagger. Once I have my Blink Dagger, I'm really an effective ganking machine. I actually aggroed that maybe a little bit earlier than I wanted to, but it's not that big of a deal. So I'm just going to run around the side here, and then up onto the cliff, and I actually, I might have forgotten a little bit to stick a napalm there, but it didn't matter, it died quickly enough. We couldn't really defend the tower there. Maybe if I'd had my blink in time, we would have been able to, but with Rasta wards and the threat of Ravage, it's just really not very practical. And here I don't know why I'm here. This is really stupid of me, to be perfectly honest. I just saw them take take mid tower, and I mean I should have known that they were coming up this way. For some reason I guess I thought that they backed off, but with where Furion is, I should have expected them, especially since they had no resistance, just to continue through. Although they did use the Rasta Ward and the Bane, were both on cooldown, so maybe I had some reasoning for expecting them to play a little more passive there, but they certainly did not, and I got myself killed. But you can see what I was showing on the map there was that I would like us to have just a little bit of vision. But anyway, it looks like the Queen of Pain and Bounty Hunter are going to be able to pick up that Furion. And then hopefully we're going to get a deny on the tower, yeah, which Queen of Pain nicely denies. So that's good for us. Unfortunately, we have already lost 2 towers, and that's kind of the Furion factor. Furion plus Rasta. So we just have to kind of continue ganking, keep them spread out, not allow them to group up for pushes. I did kind of make a mistake here. I shouldn't have really TP'd down bottom, but I mean, I just hate seeing creep wave pushed up against my tower, and it, yeah. I mean, at the same time, I don't have my blink still, so there's not really anything I can do with their kind of death ball composition if they try and stay clumped up. I really need blink. I mean, I can't just run in there. At this point, I would just die, even if I do have a fair amount of health. I really need blink to be able to blink and lasso someone. So I'm going to just kind of farm that up bottom here as quickly as possible, while missing as many last hits as possible. And yeah, let's actually take a look at how the last hits are going. So I actually am basically tied for top farm on my team. The Queen of Pain farmed quite well against the solo top tied. And yeah, the Night Stalker farmed decently. I mean, Bane, I guess, is fair harassment. Plus, the Night Stalker's been... I mean, if you think about it, you know, it's 80 creeps in 10 minutes, but yeah, I kind of want a TP here, but I wasn't going to at first. And by the time I realized, no, there's definitely going to be a fight, I'm going to TP. I guess I'll talk about stats in a little bit. And unfortunately, I do not have the blink in the spot that I wanted, but a nice job by the Rubik to get the Ravage from Tide, and so we are actually going to basically just clean up their team here. Unfortunately, Queen of Pain actually I think could have gotten out there, but decided to run into the wards and die. Still 4 for 2. And force a sniper buyback, actually, which is good for us too, since that's their carry. And you can see now I put the blink in the correct spot, my spacebar, so that I don't have that problem again. And what was I saying? Oh yeah, so about the Night Stalker and his farm. I mean, because really he only farmed for 6 minutes, not for 10 minutes, so 36 is actually not too bad. Alright, it's actually pretty good. But yeah, so I have my blink now. I do have enough money to get my Tranquil Boots up now as well. I'm still going to go Tranquil Boots even though I don't need the regen, just because the movement speed is really nice actually for like closing, because, you know, Tranquil Boots you only lose the movement speed once you take damage, but generally speaking with Batrider, you're going to kind of fly in over from the side of the trees and you're going to jump on someone, and in that time it's very unlikely that you're actually going to take damage. Here we actually see this Furion off by himself. There is the Tide, but we know that he's blown Ravage. So this actually looks like a pretty safe position for us. So I'm going to lasso him. Unfortunately, like I said, the Tide maybe not always the best target to lasso. And yeah, I actually do have a sniper shot coming in, which is going to deal a little bit of damage to me, but I'm still not too afraid of the Furion. And I do have a Flame Break, and finally I'm just going to fly away. Unfortunately, the Queen of Pain did get killed there. I guess we were actually fighting slightly down numbers there. I didn't realize that we didn't have our entire team. I don't know exactly where the Rubik was. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention. So that was actually kind of a bad fight for us to take there with all 5 of them grouped up. I mean, it's reasonable for Night Stalker not to be there. I guess we should have just had a little bit better appreciation for the fact that it is the second day now and it's time for Night Stalker to be farming. But at the same time, we really can't afford to let down the pressure. And speaking of the pressure, I'm going to talk about something that starts to cost us a little bit in this game. I mean, you notice we're up 6 to 14 in kills, but we actually haven't taken any towers, which is really not acceptable. Now, part of that is the fact that we've been fighting so far on our side of the map because of Furion, but at the same time, I mean, we have killed them enough that I think we should have taken at least a few towers, and I think the problem was we just had such an advantage early on that we didn't really have a sense of urgency, but actually, yeah, if you take a look now, I mean, the gold graph is almost equal. That is thanks to tower gold, but still, I mean, that's certainly significant. And then 5,000 experience lead is nice, but only really matters that much if we actually turn it into something. Although we do have Bounty Hunter, so I wouldn't be too worried. But I guess we'll see. So, going to fly down here, and I mean, we know that Sniper's here, and I really do want to pick him off. Bounty Hunter can go scout in Viz. And I actually does see this Rasta over here, so I'm just going to blink over, although the Rasta moves out a little bit. I actually don't feel the need to waste my ultimate to kill this Rasta. I'm just going to basically use Firefly and Sticky Napalm to finish him off. And we see that someone else did TP down here, which is actually the Bane. Which, since there's just 2 of us, I don't really want to go engage, especially at their tower, which doesn't mean Sniper's going to farm a little bit more. But that's okay, because our Night Stalker is farming. Although I feel like they could have maybe taken that mid tower by now. Unfortunately, the Furion is going to slow them down a little bit. I actually see the Furion, though, and I'd really like to go catch him. So I blink in on top of him with the intention of lassoing him, but I'm not able to at first, but I'm going to just grab him here with the lasso just to make sure that we get him and pull him away from whoever that is that's seeping in, which in this case happens to be Tide. Rubik really shouldn't have still been there. He could have just backed out. There was no reason for him to dive the tower like that. As you saw, he had basically no health and no mana. I realized some of that came from the Ravage. But part of playing, I don't know, playing Dota is that you have to know your own limits. Like, you should stay in as long as possible without dying. And if you're going to die, and it's not going to cost someone else's life if you run away, you should run away. And, like, this is really your own responsibility and no one else's. So you kind of always have to pay attention to that. Now, I understand there are things out of your control, but in this situation, I don't really know that it was that out of the Rubik's control. I think he could have gotten away. Just after the Tide Ravage, he could have just kind of backed out. I mean, the Furion's going to die anyway. There's really no way he's getting out of the situation. But I guess it works out. The problem is still, because they're doing a really good job rotating and TPing, that actually in this situation meant that we could not get that tower. Anyway, so my progression towards my next item, now that I have basically all the kind of standard starting items, my Tranquil Boots, Wand, Bottle, Blink, and TPs. Just going to go back into the jungle and start clearing camps, and yeah, the next item I'm going to work towards that I was saying is a Force Staff. This will just allow me to jump in with Flaming Lasso and Force Staff myself out while I'm holding on to someone, which is a more effective way of getting people to my team. Do you see there's a push going top or bottom, so I'm going to TP. I'm going to TP to the back tower. Maybe should have TP to the front one, but it's a little bit risky, and unfortunately I am going to get spotted now. I'm not sure how much track vision we have up, actually, and unfortunately the tower is going to die too. I probably should have gone a little bit sooner. I forgot that Tide doesn't have Ravage, so that really is a fight maybe we should have been taking. But yeah, now they've all backed off, so I just don't really want to risk it. Although, well, it looks like Bounty Hunter's actually going in. He is going to cause someone, so we should start Fireflying now to get vision, which is what I'm going to do. I see someone down there, but then back over here. I actually should go grab, yeah, I really make a mistake here. I actually lasso him because he's using shackles, and I wanted to break the shackles, but I could have actually used Flame Break to break the shackles and then grab the sniper, which would have been a higher priority target. But we are still going to be able to kill this Tide, thanks to the damage he's taking from Fireflying. So we still do trade a 3-for-1, but unfortunately the sniper does get out of there, and actually looks like he's chasing after the Queen of Pain, and is going to snipe the Queen of Pain with an ultimate, which is really unfortunate. I don't know why the Queen of Pain didn't run back back the way we went, because there's really no way for the sniper to have followed with an ult there if Queen of Pain had come back to the right. I guess you can see he blinked into the river on the left, but he actually should have just run back up the river on the right side. I mean, because there's no way the sniper's going to follow, although maybe the range would still be enough, I don't know. And at the same time, the Queen of Pain couldn't know that they would have a ward there, although it's a pretty standard ward spot, so it's not really unexpected. Yeah, for some reason I thought I said something wrong there. Anyway, close to my Force Staff, which will be important still for dragging people out. I've been pretty successful with the Batrider so far ganking, but like I said, we haven't really been playing with a sense of urgency. I mean, we're still 9 to 19, which in a game like this is generally pretty, not in a game like this, but I guess we feel is pretty reassuring. But we should certainly be a lot less reassured than we are, because I mean, we've got Night Stalker, Queen of Pain, and Bounty Hunter, who all can go pretty reasonably into the late game, but you have a Sniper, which is real annoying. And the Sniper, as you can see, is actually the most farmed hero on the map. If we take a look at net worth, though, yeah, he's actually ahead in that too, so he's actually farmed quite effectively. Despite the pressure we've been putting on. I mean, I guess the problem is, Furion has just been doing a good job making space for the... Well, it's not like Furion exactly makes space. Oh yeah, here's kind of a mistake that our support made. He placed down his ward before counter-warding, which means the other team saw his ward and they were able to kill it, because he didn't actually know where the other team's ward was. Some other time when I play support, I think you can give a more in-depth explanation for that. For now, I'm just going to go grab this Furion. I actually was thinking about ulting him, which is why I blinked on top of him, but with Night Stalker here, it really just wasn't necessary, and just able to kill him, and then Firefly just eat up all this money, which actually will give me enough for my Force Staff. I should have. Unfortunately, Queen of Pain is dead here, which I didn't realize at this time when I was going in here. So I have my ult, and unfortunately, the Night Stalker has also already popped the BKB. I figure with a haste and a lasso, I mean, this is really just going to put someone in a great position for my team to kill him. But that's actually the complete opposite of the case, unfortunately. I mean, basically, yeah, I don't really know. There wasn't a lot of follow-up there at all. I'm not really sure what ability the Rubik has taken. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's kind of disingenuous of me, because now I remember all the things about the game, to kind of pretend like I don't know. Basically, the person who's playing the Rubik, it's like his first time ever playing the Rubik, and he's only been back playing Dota for a couple weeks, so... yeah, he kind of had a little bit of a misunderstanding about how to play the hero, and about what ults to take, and he was kind of just waiting for the Ravage the entire time, because he understood the importance of that, and that was being why we picked Rubik to counter Tide, or whatever. Well, why we picked Rubik to prevent Tide from being picked. So yeah, maybe he didn't necessarily do as much as he could have in fights like that. And I guess it was partially my fault too. I just didn't realize that the Queen of Pain was dead. Anyway, so I see Furion here. I'm going to interrupt his TP with a Flame Break, and then hope one of my teammates is coming. And we actually do manage to kill him just in time, with Queen of Pain blinking and screaming. So we have killed that Furion. Also, in that last fight, maybe it was just, I mean, I felt a little too confident that being able to haste rune someone out with Flaming Lasso would be enough to win the fight. Especially someone like Bane, who is a pretty high priority target, because with Bane down, they really lose a lot of their lockdown potential. I mean, Bane being basically their only disables other than the Rasta and the Ravage. But, yeah, just wasn't enough because we didn't really have the follow-up damage. My team had kind of split too much out, the Night Stalker and the Bounty Hunter on one side, and the rest of my team back where I was. Right now what I'm explaining is that this ward doesn't really do anything for us because, and meanwhile, yeah, actually this is a real huge mistake actually. Hopefully I'll get there in time maybe to do something, but I could explain it. Yeah, I should have actually Flame Break to knock them back, but I actually lassoed the Bane in. This is kind of a mistake too. I mean, I guess maybe that we still had some more of a chance to fight here. This is also basically only my second time ever playing Batrider, so I guess I just don't use Flame Break maybe as effectively as I should. Focus more on always making sure that I lasso someone, which is kind of a mistake. I mean, here I do try to Flame Break to save his life. In fact, he should just turn around and Fade Bolt that guy before he even used the Wand Charge, and the Bane would just be dead. Unfortunately, the Bane did have time to regen a little bit of health, plus use the Wand Charge. But as soon as he saw the Flame Break hit, he should have just turned around and Fade Bolted him, which would have actually been a dead Bane and a live Rubik. But didn't really have the reaction to do that. But yeah, I guess I should be using Flame Break from distance a little bit more effectively, and being maybe a little bit less concerned about Lasso, but I don't know, Lasso is the broken ability on this hero, so it's kind of difficult to avoid it. And yeah, I guess I didn't really talk about my skill build too much as I leveled up. Well, I mean, I mentioned Firefly and Oil, and then basically just that one point in Flame Break, I think, and then I finished off Sticky Napalm, and then just gonna max Flame Break, I guess. Yeah, so I didn't really have too much of a problem not discussing that. But the problem with what happened there was that the Bounty Hunter got caught by a Sentry Ward, but it was a Sentry Ward that the Bounty Hunter knew was there because they had actually just counter-warded, and he knew that they counter-warded because we were actually talking with the support about that. Anyway, here's Furion again, and yeah, well, I'm Batrider, and yeah, Furion. I mean, he's just, I don't know, he's too far up. Although he just barely passed the river, so it's kind of tough to say that he's too far up, but yeah, he's too far up. And with Night Stalker, that's another easy pick-off. But yeah, so the Bounty Hunter basically went and got himself caught in Viz, where he knew there was a Sentry Ward, and then that led to two more teammates going and helping, trying to fight, and Ravage, etc. So, still a bad situation, not a horrible one, but you'll see that, you know, they are actually ahead by gold now, and still down by basically the same amount of experience, but as the game progresses, we really don't, I mean, we need to be gaining an advantage, because in the late game, well, I don't know, if we get enough BKBs against Ravage, maybe we're still in a decent spot, but... so, yeah, the Queen of Pain actually should be blinking over to the left here, instead of jumping down there to help kill the Rasta. See, this is just something that a lot of people, I mean, I don't know, it's just little things like this. Like, you see 3 people going after a support hero, there's no need for you to come over there, and you saw 2 other people running away, so why not go try to catch one of them? Like, we do end up catching the Tide, so I guess it's okay. And the Bane probably would have gotten away anyway. I'm not sure the Queen of Pain could have interrupted the TP, but it's just, Chinese TPs, speaking of. But it's just, I don't know, it's just things like that that people need to think about. I mean, you should always understand why you're doing what you're doing, and never just do something for no reason. Actually, the Furion is over there. We didn't even notice that. It's kind of sneaky of him. But yeah, so in a situation like that, it's kind of all about, I mean, on the one hand, you really don't want to divide your resources too thin. Like, you know, if there's 3 people running away, you send 2 after 1, 1 after 1, 1 after 1, you end up killing none of them or something. But with, like I said, I mean, with 3 people on a support, you know that support is going to die. Especially because, I mean, okay, so his only chance of living is if he TPs out, which is what he understands, which is why he's TPing out. But if the TP gets cancelled, which, I mean, like I said, I'm not even sure the Queen of Pain can cancel TP at this point. No, cannot. Then, I mean, he's going to die anyway. And if the TP doesn't get cancelled, well, then he's going to live anyway. And if you can't really interrupt that, yeah, maybe your burst damage will be the difference, like with that Furion top, but it's unlikely. So here I was just using Firefly a little bit to push the lanes back out. I'm really frustrated by the fact that we haven't taken any towers, so I'm kind of desperately trying to go get a tower here, which is actually going to put myself in kind of a precarious position here. As soon as I see the TP though, and yeah, I just get a glimpse of the Bane moving in, so I immediately blink out. Although Rubik actually possibly could have just died there. But yeah, I really just got to get the map back on the other half of the map. Are the creeps back on the other half of the map? The problem is we don't really have any good farmers in the AoE sense. Like, we've got a Bounty Hunter, a Night Stalker, both of these can use farm, but they don't have cleave or splash or anything like that. Queen of Pain can reasonably effectively, but still not amazing. I guess I'll set this to gold per minute. I'm actually the highest gold per minute on my team, and that's not good. I mean, that really should never be the case, especially with track gold. To be perfectly honest, though, this Bounty Hunter hasn't done an amazing job of keeping track up. Probably, again, not his fault. I mean, I think probably one of his first times playing Bounty Hunter, but I don't know. I mean, it's just unfortunate because track is basically the reason you pick Bounty Hunter. Just like my ult is the reason you pick the Batrider, track is the reason you pick Bounty Hunter. And I think we haven't really gotten as much track gold as we could, despite having gotten 26 kills. I mean, well, yeah, there's no way we've gotten enough track gold, because, I mean, if you think about it, we're up by 10 kills. Yeah, we are down 5 towers, which is a very significant amount of gold, but track, like 2 track kills is like 1 tower, basically. Well, with enough people there. And that really hasn't happened for us. The Bounty Hunter is, yeah, down there scouting. I actually, if I was him, I would have canceled that Furion TP. I mean, his entire team's behind him, so I'm not really sure why not to, but no, he didn't. So we're going to try to kind of force the Ravage out here, but then I see the Bane ulting. Again, I should have actually just flame braked him, but I think Bane is actually a reasonable target to lasso, although maybe not as good of a target as the Sniper. Rubik does get another nice Ravage steal off, and we are going to try to focus the Sniper now. I really got to get Sticky Napalm up on him, but yeah, the Sniper just crushes us. So actually, kind of poor decision making there by me. If I hadn't lassoed the Bane, maybe I would have been able to lasso the Sniper, because his illusions did die pretty quickly from the Manta, so it would have been easy to figure out the correct target, and they probably would have won that fight. So yeah, bit of a misplay there by me. Again, I think my reaction is just a little bit, I mean, I'm thinking all the time about lasso and not thinking enough about flame break for interrupts. Although actually, I played Batrider again in another game after this. And by the way, if you guys ever want to see like multiples of the same hero, you can always let me know. I mean, yeah, like I said, I played this CM, and then I played one immediately afterwards where I also played a jungling Batrider. And in that game I did actually a much better job of making sure that I used Flame Break to interrupt channeling spells. So, I mean, we learn from our mistakes, I guess, and having me do this video certainly helps too, because then I actually get to vocalize to myself and to you guys the mistakes that I've made. And yeah, I guess that helps a bit. So anyway, I have my 4 staff now. After 4 staff, there's a few items you can go for. You can just really try to tank it up, get something like Heart. I think the most standard, well, usually it's like Blink BKB or Blink 4 staff, and usually if you get one, then afterwards you may or may not get the other one. Also, Shiva's is pretty solid, although I think maybe for me, I really should have just gotten Boots Travel just when we're playing against the Furion. But speaking of the Furion, Bounty Hunter does what Bounty Hunter should be doing, which is basically following this Furion around the map and does catch him. Do want to go try to kill him, but actually now I'm the one getting shackled for once, so I'm not actually able to flame break. And we're going to be in a little bit of trouble here. I'm actually going to try to flame break to... Oh no, actually, yeah, I'm getting Bane ulted, but there the Bounty Hunter actually is able to Shuriken to save me. Queen of Pain does come in the back, and I'm just trying to stay up on the high ground and get some stacks of Sticky Napalm up to slow them and just kind of be a general annoyance without putting myself in harm's way. And Queen of Pain actually does manage to pick up double kill over there. Actually, she didn't... Yeah, she did get the first kill. I don't know why. Oh yeah, it did say double kill up there. I never pay attention to the top of the screen. When I'm reading kills, I always just read the bottom left. And yeah, Queen of Pain actually is going on the Furion over here, and Queen of Pain assumed that she could actually just soul the Furion, and I'm saying, yeah, don't hex, because as soon as you hex, he's just going to TP once he comes out. But the problem is she's actually about to die, but I tell her, okay, now I'm here, you can hex, because there's no way he's getting out, I can just flame break. Because she's taking a lot of damage, I don't want to risk anything, I do just use the lasso. I mean, it's level 3 lasso at this point, it's only a 50-second cooldown, so I don't need to be near as conservative as I did when it was, what, a 90-second cooldown, I think, at level 1? Yeah. Or even a 70-second at level 2. At 50 seconds, I can really just use it at any time, it'll guarantee a kill, and I should be fine. Unless there's about to be a team fight, but it's unlikely there's going to be a team fight right after we get a kill. Well, Furion, I guess, and Furion's definitely a buyback culprit, but... yeah, here I wasn't really super worried about none of the lanes where that pushed in. So I do buy a BKB. I wonder that Travels wouldn't have been better. Though, again, with them still having all their Tier 1 towers, Travels well, if I'm calling Travels, yeah, I should say do. Travels do lose some of their effectiveness. I mean, because generally you want them to be a little bit further away from their tower when you TP to them with Travels. Yeah, looks like there's going to be engagement here. The Queen of Pain does blink forward, thinking we're going to catch someone, but the problem is the Rubik is not with us, so there's not really any chance of us following up. So hopefully we don't have to engage in the next few seconds here, because Hex is actually down, which I guess I didn't realize actually when we were in the game. But this is a great spot for me up on this cliff here to try to pick them off. They do dust the Bounty Hunter, but the Bounty Hunter should be fine. I mean, we're able to retreat back to our base, and we'll see if they want to go. The idea is we really want to try to engage on them before they start fighting us. And I'm trying actually to maneuver into a position where I can catch this the sniper. I did BKB up a little preemptively, but yeah, it should be okay. So basically at this point I'm just kind of flying around and trying to get to that sniper. I do finally manage to grab the sniper and bring him over here towards the Queen of Pain. Unfortunately, I just don't have enough follow-up as usual. The Night Stalker is actually off somewhere else, as well as the Bounty Hunter, I think. And so yeah, this means the Queen of Pain is going to live. I mean, the sniper is going to live. I am just going to TP out to try to survive. Partially my fault. The problem was, right when the sniper used his Manta, I didn't know which one was the real one. I could have actually Flame Break there. Again, just maybe should have used Flame Break more effectively. Although in this instance, there is actually a reason why I didn't. Which is that if I Flame Break, it actually is going to push him away from me, which might make it a little bit more difficult. I mean, it's pretty tough to get on top of someone directly without being able to blink on them and use the lasso. And I don't want to Force Staff on top of him, because then I won't be able to Force Staff him back out. And given that I was in the middle of their team, that wouldn't really help my team kill the sniper any faster. Generally speaking, you don't really have to make sure that you grab one specific person. Flame Break, too slow. Lack the Flame Break reactions. You don't have to be so sure that you catch one person. Oh yeah, so here actually I do grab the sniper, but here is actually where the Night Stalker should be coming to help out a little bit sooner. And we would have actually just killed that sniper, but the Night Stalker actually was going after Bane or something else like that, which unfortunately meant that the sniper will TP out and live. Although we will at least catch the Bane in the Tide, so I mean, it's not terrible, but I don't know, we have a high priority need to kill that sniper. Anyway, as I was saying, it's not necessarily completely necessary. Not necessarily completely necessary. I should shoot a Flame Break. I should shoot a Flame Break. Watching myself. It's just I don't know. I guess back when I used to play Batrider in Dota 1, I almost regret doing this video now. Now having seen this, maybe I should go do the second one. You guys will never know this one exists. The second game, that is. But yeah, back in Dota 1, I guess Flame Break was a lot worse. So I'm just not really used to using it as much. Whereas here, it's actually quite good now. And it should be used a lot more effectively. But yeah, so I'm too behind Ghost Scepter just so that I can't get focused down by the sniper, so that I actually can get to him without getting chain stunned. Well, not chain stunned, but chain mini stunned by his annoying passive. But I was saying, oh yeah, it's not so important to make sure you grab a specific person with Batrider. As long as you're grabbing basically anyone who can contribute something to a fight. I mean, yeah, grabbing something like a Crystal Maiden maybe not really going to do too much, but grabbing anyone, like, I mean, on their team, well, Rasta, Furion, Bane. If Rasta hasn't gotten off his ult yet, any three of those would really be fine. Although maybe Furion isn't super relevant since, I mean, like I said, he can just buy back and TP back pretty effectively, which is something Furions do all too often. But any of those three in addition to the sniper really would be acceptable. The reason why Tide is not good is because I would actually just be setting him up for a Ravage. Unless my team had some sort of amazing reactions where the Night Stalker could silence the very second that Kraken Shell got rid of Lasso. But in this instance, because we feel kind of so far behind and we're having so much difficulty with the sniper, I really kind of took it upon myself to do everything I could to make sure that I would lasso him. Unfortunately there, in 2 fights in a row, I did lasso the sniper, but my team just didn't follow up. Partially because my team lacks the maneuverability that I have. To some extent, I guess that's actually not really true. I mean, we have a Bounty Hunter with track, and a Night Stalker, you know, with track as well. So, I mean, they're going to be moving fast, and we have a Blink. The only person who really lacks the maneuverability is Rubik, who I assume does have a Force Staff by now. I actually didn't want them to attack the Roche here, which is why I'm now just going to have to Firefly out. Unfortunately, the lanes are a little bit too pushed. I actually just wanted to bait the Roche, the other team, but they actually weren't fighting for it anyway. The lanes were so pushed, I guess they knew that we would have to go back and defend them anyway, and they weren't going to take Roche. And I guess they just really weren't that worried about us getting Roche anyway, because of how the fights are going. I mean, one specific Aegis isn't going to do that much, I think. I guess I never really did talk too much about the BKB pickup. Like I said, maybe Travels would have been better, but I'm not sure in hindsight now that I think about our position on the map. But, oh, yeah, Queen of Pain in a little trouble. Do shoot out a flame break immediately and then force staff her forward just to make sure she's going to be alright. But BKB is pretty important because it lets me go inside of Ravage. In fact, I mean, earlier in the game, if you have a BKB against Tide, you could actually almost force the Ravage out by flying in on top of him and have him risk actually dying. But now he has too much health to really just die to me solo. So now I use Flame Break, and I am flying around the side. I am just trying my best to get to that sniper, and I am actually going to manage to grab the sniper this time and force staff him. Actually, I don't force staff, I just run him back to my team. Unfortunately, again, as usual, my team is really not in position to take advantage, and this time, so, yeah, basically the sniper lives, despite the fact that I did do what I was supposed to, which was grab the sniper this time, and, yeah, my team is going to get wiped, and that's pretty much going to be game. So, yeah, we had an advantage early on, but we kind of squandered it by not pressing the advantage as much as we should. I mean, I don't think we ever really even took a Roche, which we should have had just like a Vlad's on the Night Stalker or the Bounty Hunter, and done stuff with that. But, yeah, didn't really maximize the advantage we gained through ganking as effectively as possible, and I think we just didn't get really enough track kills. I mean, everyone could have played maybe a little bit better. Certainly including myself, who I pointed out the numerous mistakes from. But anyway, this should give you kind of an intro on how to play Batrider in the jungle, at least. Maybe some other time I'll do another one in the lane, or I'll do one in the jungle where maybe I perform a little bit better. Although I think I didn't do too badly this game. But anyway, as usual, guys, thanks for watching. I do have another video that I will be making hopefully pretty soon, so it should be up within a week of this one as well. I think it was a Templar Assassin game that I played in CM as well. I think so. Not 100%, but I think so. So anyway, yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in, and hope to well, have another video up soon. See ya.